36 people have died in a road accident at Miga.
Injured were rushed to Chuka County Referral Hospital.
Exact number of people who were in the bus is yet to be
Bodies of the dead were moved to a mortuary in the same facility.
Police reported that the bus that was traveling from Kisumu to Nairobi suffered brakes failure. It then collided head-on with a truck that was heading to Eldoret.
So, Edgar, you are managing now the Africa Transportation Awards. And basically, what you're looking at is a lot of the fleet management people now. We're looking at now, as opposed to the government having its own regulations, a lot of fleets now will also have rules and regulations around the drivers. Like you mentioned, now there's driver training happening. You've selected the drivers. You're also doing training. You're also doing a lot of testing of the vehicles, making sure everything is okay. First of all, tell us a little more about the awards, and then now what is happening from the private sector, not necessarily the government, to help with the situation around road safety.
Thank you very much. Basically, the awards were the first of its kind in East and Central Africa, which we were able to execute this year in July, 15th of July. And the goal of the award is basically to drive behavior change on our roads. And how do we do it? By celebrating excellence, awarding road users, not just matatu drivers, but every road user who has exhibited excellence and safety on the road. The long-term objective of Africa Mashariki Transport Awards is for us to be able to see a reduction of road injuries and fatalities as we get to celebrate these people. So we will do a check in 5 years just to see has our effort paid up, or what do we need to do.
If you're talking about like the carrot and the stick, enforcement would be the stick, and the awards now are the carrot.
Yes.
Is now you also reward the good behavior, not just punish the bad.
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about the categories, because you mentioned it's not just PSV drivers.
Yeah.
I had some mention earlier about also now some motorcyclists as well.
Yeah. And actually, Mr. Yellow Line
is a winner.
is a winner because yes. They drive a lot of awareness on their page, Skika Road Safety page, where they talk about accidents and reporting, and they've helped a lot of Kenyans. So the awards categories we have from Matatu Driver of the Year, male and female, Outstanding Boda Boda Rider of the Year, male and female. And the reason why we involved the Boda Boda sector is we wanted to have an all-inclusive conversation. We have a traffic policeman and woman, male and female. We have radio drive show of the year because they give us traffic updates. Yeah, we have domestic airline of the year in terms of customer service, safety record. Yeah, there are quite a number. We have an outstanding contribution to the transport sector, which is a Lifetime Achievement Award, and for this year, it was given to the late Honorable John Michuki for his outstanding contribution in the transport sector. And we'll get to add more as we progress next year, because next year the awards will have an East African look, because it's Africa Mashariki. So the transport or the safety conversation will transcend the borders of this country. So we'll have nominees from Tanzania, we'll have nominees from Uganda, from Rwanda, and the theme for next year basically is the future of the transport industry in East Africa.
Good that you mentioned that you're looking at how the impacts of all of these interventions are going to be moving going forward. And like you said, it's a very widespread. You're looking at everything from also now local airlines all the way down to the traffic police officer on the ground.
Yes.
So from where you sit, where do you think now that the private sector specifically can fit in to do some more about road safety?
And I noted this down. We need to have stakeholders to organize seminars with where PSV and traffic police can meet and talk about their problems. And I love what Skika does. In their little way, they have these forums where they bring the traffic cops and the border guys and the PSVs guys to just talk, to kill the stereotype, because the PSVs will say police in your buyer, and the traffic cops will say the PSVs are your buyer. So bring them, have seminars, stakeholders meeting where they can talk and air out their grievances. And in addition, the relationship between traffic law and road safety needs to be given greater emphasis during this training. And another aspect that we also picked up is most of the driving schools are not monitored and evaluated. Yeah, because you find guys go to driving school, all of us went to a driving school, but the roads have changed. The design has changed, but none of us has updated him or herself on that. So we need to monitor and evaluate driving schools in order to find out if the curriculum is updated or sufficient for the trainees.
Yeah, which is interesting because
Yes,
the model table that we all used didn't have an expressway.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
we're thinking about something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
The thing around anything called curriculum is something which is not static. It keeps on changing, and it changes because of a number of parameters. And that's why anything called curriculum will have revision and additions and reviews as we move along. And I think I'll take you back so that we see where we've come from and where we want to go. One is that since we came into independence, we've never had to start with, we've never had standard curriculum in this country of how driving is, or what you need to teach as a driving school, as a driving instructor. When we came as NTSA, remember that time, issues to do driver training, driver testing was with the National Police Service. And at that time, there was no driving curriculum at all, which the driving schools were supposed to use to. So you go to a driving school which was registered then with as a business unit, and after you've gone there as a learner, you look for driving, you go for driver tests in the police, and then you are subject to a test. So to start the journey is that we said we need to standardize a number of things. What is a driving school? Because we need to standardize, and that is the work of the regulator. And that is, Edgar, is a process. So we already have regulations saying, for you as a driving schools, you need to have the following. The instructors, and I'll not go through each one of them. And the instructors, what are the qualifications of instructors? And that's what we have put. And as I said, it's a process. Two, you always talk that you cannot instruct out there, of course, much, but if you have to have theory, you need to have a class or a shade of some sort. Then two is that when you have this thing called driving school, what are you teaching? And what you say, what you're teaching is what you talk about the curriculum. And here you are talking about both theory and the practical. And theory and the practical, you say for you to become a motorcycle rider, you need to have this number of days on theory and this number of days on practicals, and then subsequently the driving school itself will now submit the name to NTSA that I've trained Anthony, and they have taken, basically you take that I've trained all these courses, the 21 days or so, theory on this, and I submit thereof Anthony to come for a driver test. So much so that in the near future, we want to see what that driving schools are. They producing good drivers? What is their failure rate? Now, so that is on the driver. Then subsequent is the licensing. The third thing we are currently working on is the testing. There's the school, what you training in school, and then the testing. The testing currently, and this is where you come, Robert, is the whole aspect around working towards improving on driver testing. And that is, of course, the work of the regulator. We are currently working towards what we call automated theory testing, so that it does not become subjective, whereby you are showed a board or you are asked what is this road sign and all that. You go sit on a table, on a table, a computer in front of you, randomly generating questions and bringing all those aspects, including, and this is what we are working together with Isuzu East Africa, to bring the digitization of the theory tests, so that it does not become subjective, that as examiner or the person testing you, I'll show you what is this roadside, what does it say, what does this mean? And in the long run, I can say that you failed. But what, that kind of thing. So what we are saying is to remove that interface between human to human, but work towards having theory testing being automated, and then the practical testing becoming automated. This is where the private sector would come in very clearly, because they'll be very good at coming up with those simulators and testing equipment and all that. So that is the direction we are going as we move along. The second part is that as we move along, one of the things which always comes into play is that curriculum is not static, is dynamic, will keep on changing, and actually we are in the process of revising the current curriculum to incorporate a lot of things, and been working so much with East Africa on matters to do with automated highway code, which brings all these dynamics with underpasses and overpasses and intersections, which were not traditional in this country, but now needs to be incorporated, including have it incorporated in the highway code, and some of them are better captured in digitization or in automated, or in, should I say, in a form which can be seen graphically by incorporating technology.
Six people have died in a road accident at Miga.
Injured were rushed to Chuka County Referral Hospital.
Exact number of people who were in the bus is yet to be
Bodies of the dead were moved to a mortuary in the same facility.
Police reported that the bus that was traveling from Kisumu to Nairobi suffered brakes failure. It then collided head-on with a truck that was heading to Eldoret.